You know, in this world we live in, everybody wants to know everything about you. They want to see what you're eating, where you're going, who you're talking to, what you're planning, what you're dreaming. They want access to every detail of your life. But I learned something a long time ago. Some things are not meant to be shared with the world. Some things are not for everybody's eyes. Because when you put everything out there, you invite voices that don't belong in your story. You invite doubt. You invite jealousy. You invite noise that can kill your peace before your blessing even arrives. I had to protect my own life, my own family, my own dreams by keeping certain things private. I had to learn that if you expose everything, you weaken the power of the very thing you're working on. So I'm going to share with you 7 things I believe you should always keep private. Not because you're hiding, not because you're afraid, but because privacy is power. Because silence is silence, keeps your strength alive until it's time for the world to see it. When I was a young man, I didn't tell everybody my dreams. Not because I was ashamed of them, not because I didn't believe in them, but because I knew most people wouldn't understand them. See, when you tell small minds big dreams, they'll always find a way to shrink them down. They'll project their fear onto you. They'll try to convince you that it can't be done, that you're not capable, that you're aiming too high. And I refuse to let somebody else's take the place of my faith. I kept a lot of my vision to myself. I didn't need validation. I didn't need a round of applause. What I needed was silence, so I could hear God, so I could hear that inner voice guiding me. Dreams are like seeds. You don't take a seed and throw it on the concrete and expect it to grow. You bury it deep in the soil. You cover it up. You protect it. You water it in private. In time, with patience, it breaks through the ground. That's how I treated my dreams. There were nights when I would sit alone, imagining myself on stage, imagining myself in films, imagining myself living a life that seemed impossible at the time. Nobody else could see it, but I saw it. And I wasn't looking for someone to agree with me or clap for me. I knew what was planted in me, and I knew it didn't need an audience to grow. You have to understand, the world has a way of testing you before it blesses you. And one of the greatest tests is whether you'll protect your dream when nobody believes in it. When I told a few people about what I wanted, some of them laughed. Some of them told me to be realistic, to play it safe, to find something more practical. If I had listened to them, I wouldn't be standing where I am today. If I had given my dream over to people who couldn't dream for themselves, I would have lost it before it even had a chance. So I made a decision. I will protect what God put inside me. I will nurture it in silence. I will pray over it, work on it, discipline myself. And when the time is right, I will show it to the world. Not because I said so, but because the fruit will speak for itself. And that's what I want to tell you. Protect your dream. Stop announcing every move before it's made. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't even have the capacity to understand you. Protect the way you would protect a newborn child, because your dream is fragile in the beginning, and the wrong energy, the wrong voices, the wrong environment can kill it before it breathes. People may doubt you, but that's okay. Let them. People may criticize you, but that's okay. Let them. You don't owe anyone the blueprint. You don't have to prove it to them in words. You prove it in action. You prove it in results. You prove it by refusing to let go when the journey gets tough. I learned early that privacy isn't secrecy. Privacy is protection. Secrecy is fear, but privacy is wisdom. I wasn't hiding from the world. I was building in silence. And when the right time came, the doors opened. The opportunities arrived. The results spoke louder than any explanation I could have ever given. So when I look back at my journey, I realize it wasn't just talent that got me here. It wasn't just connections. It wasn't just opportunity. It was discipline. Yes. It was faith. Yes. But it was also the decision to protect what was inside me until it was ready to shine. Because you can't hand your dream to everyone. Some people will feed it, but many will poison it. And you have to be wise enough to know the difference. So my message to you is this: keep your dreams close, work in silence, protect what God has given you, and don't you dare let anybody talk you out of what you know your heart is meant for you. Because if you protect it, if you nurture it, if you refuse to let it go, one day that private dream will become a public testimony. And the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to watch you shine. Faith has always been my anchor, my foundation, my lifeline. I didn't make it in this business because I was the best actor or the most talented or the most connected. I made it because I kept my faith private, personal, and powerful. See, when you put your faith on display for the approval of others, it stops being faith. It becomes performance. And performance has an audience, but faith has a purpose. There's a big difference. I've always said my relationship with God is between me and Him. It's not for applause. It's not for headlines. It's not for the cameras. It's for my strength, my guidance, my protection, because the truth is, when you walk with God, not everybody is supposed to understand that walk. If you try to explain it, some people will laugh at you, some will doubt you, some will try to talk you out of believing. But when you keep that faith personal, when you nurture it in silence, it grows in something so strong that nothing in this world can shake it. I've prayed in empty rooms. I've prayed on film sets. I've prayed in hotel rooms when nobody knew where I was or what I was going through. And those prayers, those quiet moments, they carried me through storms you never heard about. I ever needed to tell the world what I asked God for, because God doesn't need an audience to do His work. He needs obedience. He needs trust. And sometimes, the more silent you are, the louder your blessings become. People think faith is about talking. No, faith is about walking. It's about moving when you can't see the road. It's about trusting when you don't know how it will work out. It's about believing when everybody else is telling you it's impossible. You can't get that kind of faith from likes or from followers. You get it from the inside. You get it from silence. You get it from those private conversations with God that no one else will ever hear. I've had moments in my life where everything could have gone the other way. Times when I didn't know if I would ever get another role, another opportunity. Times when I questioned myself, questioned the path, questioned whether I was even worthy of the life I was chasing. And in those moments, I didn't run to the world for validation. I didn't post about it. I didn't tell everybody my fears. I went to my knees. I closed the door. I prayed, because there's power in private faith. There's protection in keeping that space between you and God untouchable. And let me tell you something, the enemy doesn't attack what he can't see. If you parade every hope, every prayer, every dream in front of the world, you're giving him a target. You're giving him something to aim at. But when you cover it in silence, when you cover it in faith, when you keep it private, it becomes untouchable. That's why I've learned to stay quiet about certain things. People don't need to know what I'm praying for. They don't need to know what I'm waiting on. They just need to see the results when God delivers. I believe too many of us are starving our faith by feeding the crowd. We're so busy showing, proving, explaining, that we forget the real work happens in the quiet. I can tell you from my own journey, the times I was silent, the times I kept my faith hidden and sacred, Those were the times God showed up the biggest. Because when nobody else could take the credit, I knew exactly who to thank. So if you hear nothing else from me, hear this: your faith doesn't need an audience. Your faith doesn't need applause. Your faith doesn't need to be broadcasted. It just needs to be real. Keep it private. Keep it personal. Keep it powerful. Because the world can take your money. It can take your reputation. It can take your job. But it can't take the strength you build in the silence with God. That is yours forever. And that's why I guard it, protect it, and keep it where it belongs, between me and Him. Everybody goes through something. Don't let the suits, the movies, or the fame fool you. I've been broken too. I've had nights where I didn't know how I was going to make it. Days when I felt like the weight of the world was crushing me. Struggle is not a stranger to anybody, no matter where you end up in life. But here's the thing I had to learn. Your struggles are not for everybody's eyes. They're not for display. They're not a show. Because the truth is, most people don't care about the battle. They just want to see if you survive it. And some people, if you tell them too much, they'll root against you while smiling in your face. When I was young, I thought sharing my pain and people would understand me better. I thought if I told them about the sleepless nights, about the fee failures, they would support me. But I learned quickly, when you open your wounds too soon, people don't always bring healing. Sometimes they bring salt. Sometimes they bring judgment. And sometimes they use your weakness as entertainment. So I started to keep certain things to myself. I started to fight my battles in silence, not because I was ashamed, but because my struggle was shaping me. It was building me. It was teaching me lessons that I couldn't afford to let anyone interrupt. See, when life knocks you down, that's when you find out who you really are. But the world doesn't need to see the fight inside your soul before it's finished. That's private. That's sacred. That's between you, your God, and your determination. People will see the results later, but they don't need to witness the process. Because the process is ugly. The process is bloody. The process is filled with nights of doubt and mornings of faith. That's not for the crowd. That's for the warrior. That's for the one who refuses to stay down. I've had roles I didn't get. I've had critics tear me apart. I've been rejected, overlooked, misunderstood. And there were times when I wanted to scream it out, tell the world how unfair it was, tell the world how broken I felt. But I kept it to myself, because struggle isn't about proving to people how hard it is for you. Struggle is about proving to yourself how strong you are becoming. You don't get stronger by broadcasting pain. You get stronger by carrying it, by working through it, by walking with it until one day it turns into wisdom. I remember my mother telling me, "Son, not everybody needs to know what you're going through. Sometimes the best response is silence and prayer." And she was right, because when I learned to fight my battles in private, I started winning in public. When I stopped announcing my struggles and just went through them, I started realizing that victory doesn't need applause to be real. Sometimes the loudest triumphs are the ones that happen when nobody's watching. People today, they want to show everything: the pain, the tears, the drama. They want validation for suffering. But suffering is not a badge of honor to be displayed. It's a classroom you graduate from. When you go through something, you don't come out the same. You come out stronger, sharper, wiser. And when you've walked through fire, you don't need to tell people how hot it was. They'll see it in the way you shine after surviving. So I say this: stop advertising your struggles like they're for sale. Stop giving the world a front row seat to your pain. Instead, let your healing, let your growth, let your success be the story they see. Keep the battles private, but let the victories be public. Because the truth is, no one will ever fully understand what it took for you to keep going. And they don't need to. That's between you and God. That's between you and the mirror. That's between you and the fight who you are today. I don't stand here because I've never been broken. I stand here because I didn't let being broken define me. I didn't give my struggles to the world as entertainment. I gave them to God as a sacrifice. And in return, He gave me strength. Strength to stand. Strength to keep moving. Strength to become more than the pain I endured. That's why I say your struggles are not for display. They are for your transformation. And when the world finally sees you rise, they won't understand how you made it. But you will. Family, let me tell you something. Family is sacred. It's not a stage. It's not a performance. It's not a photo you post so the world can clap for you. Family is where you find your true self, the place where you can take the mask off, where you don't have to act, don't have to pretend, don't have to perform. In this business I've been blessed to work in, people want access to everything. Your movies, your speeches, your interviews, and then they want your dinner table, too. They want your children's lives. They want your wife's story. They want to peek inside the walls of your home. But I had to learn very early that if I was going to last in this industry, if I was going to last as a man, I had to protect my family from that spotlight. Because once you let the war in, you can't close that door again. See, my career is for the public. My performances, my art, my words are for people to see, to judge, to critique, to celebrate. That's the part of me that belongs to the world. But my family, that's not up for public discussion. That's not for likes, shares, or gossip headlines. I guard that like a treasure because it is a treasure. My wife, my children, the people closest to me, they don't deserve to carry the weight of fame. They don't deserve to have strangers making comments about their lives, their choices, their mistakes. So I keep that private, not because I'm hiding, but because I'm protecting. You've got to understand, when you love people, real love, you don't put them on display. You don't use them, you make yourself look good. You cover them. You protect them. You shield them from the storm. And in today's world, that storm is louder than ever. Social media makes everybody feel entitled to your business. But peace comes when you learn to say, no, this part of me is not for you. This part of me belongs to my family, and my family only. I've seen too many people lose themselves because they didn't draw that line. They let the world in so deep that their family became a reality show. Their marriage ate. Their children became content for strangers. And what happens? The foundation crumbles. The love starts to feel like a burden. The home stops being a home and starts being a stage. That's why I keep my private life private. That's why when you see me on screen, you see the actor, the artist. But when I walk through my door, I'm just a husband. I'm just a father. I'm just a man. That's where I breathe. That's where I find my strength to go back out into the world. And let me tell you something else. Privacy isn't just about family. It's about respect. Respect for the people you love. Respect for their right to live in peace. My wife didn't sign up for Hollywood. My children didn't sign up for the spotlight. I signed up for it. I chose it. And because I chose it, it's my responsibility to make sure they don't have to pay the price for it. That's what a man does. That's what love does. It protects. So I'm telling you right now, whoever you are, wherever you are, protect your family, protect your loved ones. Don't let the world make you believe you owe them access to your most sacred space. You don't. Some things are stronger when they stay in the dark, when they're watered in silence. That's how families grow. That's how love survives. I've been married for decades in an industry where marriages fall apart every day. And do you know why? Because I kept that part of my life away from the circus. I nurtured it in private. I respected it. And when you do that, when you value it enough to protect it, it lasts. So no matter who you are, celebrity, student, worker, dreamer, if you've got people you love, shield them. Don't parade them. Don't put them on display for validation. Love them in private, and let that love be the strength you carry in public. That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you honor what matters most. Because when it's all said and done, when the lights go off, when the applause fades, it won't be the fans or the strangers who hold you up. It'll be your family. And if you've protected them right, if you've kept that love sacred, they'll be standing right there with you through everything. I've learned something about this world, something I had to remind myself of over and over again. Every move make doesn't need to be announced. Every plan you have doesn't need to be broadcast. When I was younger, I thought the more people knew about my grind, the more respect I'd get. But the truth is, the more you talk about what you're going to do, the more room you give for doubt to creep in, for negativity to settle in, for people to take your vision and tear it apart before you've even built it. I found out that silence isn't weakness. It's power. You don't have to tell everybody your next step. You don't have to justify your journey. You don't have to explain your dream to people who don't even have the courage to dream for themselves. I've been on sets where people thought I wasn't paying attention, but I was watching everything, soaking in the lessons, preparing myself. I didn't need to tell the world, watch out, I'm coming. No, I let the work speak for me. And when the performance came, when the moment came, people didn't have to ask what I was doing behind the scenes. The result told them everything they needed to know. That's what I mean when I say move in silence. Let success speak. Because success has a voice so loud, it doesn't need an introduction. Some of the greatest blessings in my life came when I stopped talking and just kept walking. You don't have to show off your grind, your sacrifice, your sleepless nights. People don't need to see the sweat. They'll see the shine when the time is right. The world doesn't reward explanations, it rewards results. And I had to discipline myself to stop giving people previews of something they hadn't earned the right to see. You see, when you talk too much about what you're doing, you open the door for energy that doesn't belong. Not everyone clapping for you wants to see you win. Not everyone smiling at you is smiling from their heart. And if you let too many eyes into your process, some of them will be looking to find a crack, a flaw, a reason to say you can't make it. But if you keep that process between you and God, between you and your grind, between you and your purpose, then when you show up with the finished product, nobody can deny it. They might not like you, but they can't ignore the result. I'm not saying keep everything to yourself out of fear. No, that's not it. I'm saying keep it to yourself because your dream is sacred. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to show people it's growing. You water it in silence. You give it sunlight. You protect it. And when the season is right, it breaks through the ground on its own. That's how life works. That's how faith works. You move in silence, and the growth speaks when it's ready. There were times I wanted to defend myself, wanted to prove people wrong with words. But then I realized the best way to prove people wrong is not to argue, it's not to clap back. It's to succeed. It's to rise. It's to stand tall in the victory they said you'd never have. Nothing silences doubt like results. Nothing silences hate like success. And nothing silences fear like faith in action. So I remind myself over and over again, it's not about how much noise you make before you arrive. It's about the impact you make when you get there. I don't need to tell you how hard I work. You'll feel it when you see the work. I don't need to brag about what I'm building. You'll see it when it stands tall. I don't need to announce every move I make, because when the move is done, the world won't be able to miss it. That's the lesson I carry with me. Be humble, be focused, be disciplined enough to hold your tongue and keep walking. Because when you move in silence, the noise of your success will echo louder than anything you could ever say. And when that echo reaches the world, it won't need an introduction. It'll already have their full attention.